Hello, Dominic here from the Bournemouth Writing Festival. Looking forward to welcoming you to Bournemouth on the 26th, 27th and 28th of April, which is only next month, not long to go. We have over 100 writing events and activities happening over those 3 days, whether they're some of them are free, some of them are ticketed. There's lots and lots going on. There's lots of networking events, all sorts of stuff. There's a poetry hub, and there's talks, and there's workshops, and there's beach walks and literary walks and all sorts of things. So have a look at the website and get booking. So today I'm very happy to welcome another one of our speakers, and this is Isabelle Knight, and she came along to last year's Writing Festival actually. Her talk this year is called Your Route to Overnight Success, which as authors we all want, don't we? Her talk is at 4:45 p.m. on the Saturday at Pavilion Dance. Now, Isabelle used to work as a publicist in the film world, working with the likes of Colin Firth, Guy Ritchie, Jason Statham, and JK Rowling. She then began working with authors, both in fiction and non-fiction, to help them become successful, but also with their marketing and their publicity and their PR, including such things as launches, messaging, and your own author brand. And she also offers lots of different retreats, courses, and coaching. And interestingly, I also found out that Isabelle is a classical soprano. So, Isabelle, welcome. Let's have a song.
I'd love to, Dominic, but maybe we'll save that for the festival, I think. Maybe we'll finish my talk with the song. Thank you for that lovely introduction. And I'm really delighted to be back at the Bournemouth Writing Festival for the second year in a row, and I'm sure it's going to be just as brilliant, if not more so, than last year.
Well, thank you so much for those kind words. So, Isabelle, I've just told everybody a little bit about your background being in the film world. JK Rowling, probably the biggest name in publishing. Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are now.
So, yes, I unhumbly say that I have worked with some really famous people through my career. So I was a top-level publicist in film and TV for about 2 decades. We won't go into more specifics than that. But yeah, I worked on big films, small films, TV shows, and that brought me to working with JK Rowling, who wrote the Strike books as Robert Galbraith. So I worked with the production company and the BBC to bring those books to TV. So I'm a publicist, which basically means I've helped to build brands. And because I spent most of my career helping famous people, or famous people before they were famous, to become famous. And then I understood that there were a load of creative people, and namely authors, who just didn't have access to the kind of knowledge and tools that a publicist can bring. And that kind of brought me into the world of self-published authors, where I've had a fantastic journey for the last sort of 3 years, helping self-published indie small press authors in the main, who just don't have the big marketing budgets, they don't have money they can throw into publicity, and really teaching them that you can do this for yourself. You can build your own author brand. If you have the right kind of knowledge and the right guidance, you can do this work for yourself. And actually, I say to people, you are the best person to do your own publicity, because only you are as passionate about your work as you are, and are able to kind of spread those messages to your ideal readers.
And I'd be honest with you, a lot of the people that I speak to throughout the festival and our networking events and the things that I do in between the two festivals is about marketing, because as you said, we're creatives. We don't really understand the marketing world and what does messaging and positioning mean. So your talk really pinpoints that, and the subtitle of your talk is Learn the Secrets to Your Author Success. So tell us a little bit about your talk and what you're going to be discussing.
Yeah, so because I've worked a lot recently with self-published authors, and I see online we get a lot of noise about kind of do this, do that in your marketing, kind of tick these boxes and you'll be able to sell your books. But I think as much as that's great and it creates communities, I think often we get this false sense that If we just do these, these few things, then that's all we need to do as authors. And this idea that you can build your success, by kind of ticking these boxes and doing it quickly. So it creates this false sense of the overnight success kind of myth. So what I'm doing is really addressing that and saying this is really what it takes. If you've understood the kind of essentials of how you present your work, how you speak about yourself as an author, and understanding what makes your books really exciting for your ideal reader and kind of meeting them there, then everything to do with your publicity or marketing becomes so much easier. And once we learn how to, I'll be talking about pitching yourself. That will be quite a big focus. Learning how to pitch yourself and your work is really key to then starting to build the right connections, networking, creating that credible profile for yourself, which I think authors really struggle to do often because they just don't know how to make themselves unique in what is now becoming a really, really busy marketplace for self-published authors. And we have new genres popping up all the time, and authors say to me, so how do I set myself apart? So that's really what we're focusing on, is how you set yourself apart, how you make yourself unique, and how we can create that sense of overnight success, but how we're going to do that.
So it sounds like then that I think a lot of authors, they've got their book and here it is, here's my book now, and it's a lot about the product selling as opposed to, as you're talking about, author selling. So why would people buy from people? That's what they generally say. And if you're an indie or self-published, then yes, you're more likely to buy the person as opposed to the book. Have I got that right? Or
yes, that's definitely along the right line. So we want to, when we're self-publishing, like we said, we don't have the big marketing budgets. We don't have people kind of working on our behalf to build up our profiles for us. So we have to start from a place of, let's get our ideal readers invested in us. Before someone's going to pick up your book, they kind of need to get slightly invested in you on that level of intrigue, curiosity, building up their interest so that they will pick up your book. So it's kind of getting into that nitty-gritty of, well, how do we do that? How do we get, somebody that they've never heard of you before, your books are brilliant, but how are you going to get them to see that? So we want them to get invested in you as the author.
And what advice would you give people that are a little bit scared to put themselves out there visibly? Because it's quite a brave and courageous thing, because you're having to be very vulnerable to put yourself out there. So I know a lot of writers kind of hide behind the laptop in a way because they're a little bit scared of putting their face out. So what would you say to somebody like that?
So believe it or not, I work with quite a few authors who are, who don't feel terribly confident putting themselves out there, and they're quite nervous of social media and nervous of the kind of marketing stuff that we see people doing. So it's really about helping people to understand that you don't have to be vulnerable and uncomfortable. It's helping people to work out, what are you saying that makes you feel good, makes you feel confident, and doesn't make you feel like you have to kind of lay your heart and soul on the table for people. And understanding, once you've understood what makes your work and you unique as an author, that actually gives you loads more confidence, and people then start to surprise themselves with how much they can do once we've kind of got those foundations in place.
And who should come to your talk? What is it? Somebody that's just right at the beginning of their writing journey, who are kind of starting to think about the genre, or should people come who have already finished their book? Like, who's the ideal person to come?
So I think people that have either a really good idea of what their book is going to be and what genres they're writing in and what they want to do with their books, and people that are maybe perhaps ready to publish. They've got their book, they've kind of got their publishing plan in place, but they're starting to think about, how am I going to do my marketing? How am I going to get readers? And even for more established authors who maybe are a few books down the line and are wondering what is it that they're not doing, or are not seeing the results that they really want to see. And I think my talk is going to help people at those different stages.
Wonderful. Okay, so what are the takeaways that people are going to have once they've been to your talk and walking out the door? What are the one or two things that people will be leaving with?
They're going to take away the knowledge of how to start building their crucial foundations and how to put these into place for their marketing and their publicity. And actually, I think they're going to come away more confident than less confident in kind of what's possible for them.
Wonderful. Well, that sounds like a brilliant talk. So thank you so much, Isabelle, for joining me today, and also for coming to our writing festival again down here in Bournemouth. So Isabelle Knight, her talk is Your Route to Overnight Success, and that's at 4:45 p.m. on Saturday at the Pavilion Dance. So Isabelle, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Dominic. It's a pleasure, and can't wait to see you in April.
Looking forward to seeing you again, Isabelle, and also looking forward to seeing all of you in Bournemouth Town Centre on the 26th, 27th and 28th of April. Thank you. Take care. Bye.